Aotearoa, and welcome to Wednesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect New Zealand. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news. We're in for a day of significant announcements, both locally and internationally. But first up today, the overnight dairy auction brought higher prices, up 4.6% in US dollar terms, up 3% in New Zealand dollar terms. Of note, the butter price hit a new all-time high of $7,992 a tonne. Also, cheddar cheese rose very sharply, up 12% from the prior full event, and the dominant whole milk powder price was up a heady 6.2%. This has been a very positive outcome, even if it was off relatively low off-season volumes. There seem to be two big background drivers. First, the EU production is slipping, and today's New Zealand auction prices seem to be equalising with European pricing. And secondly, there was a substantial increase in demand from Southeast Asian buyers, shifting from EU supply. Today's result will bring upside to the payout if it is maintained in future events. Elsewhere, there was a good rise in US retail sales last week, up 6.9% from the same week a year ago in the Red Book survey. But as we've noted previously, it is now hard to separate the inflationary effect of the tariff taxes from volume gains. It is about now that the tariff tax impact will start happening. All eyes are on Apple because they won't be able to avoid price hikes much longer now. Retaliatory tariff taxes also juiced up US exports in both goods and services in March, but it was minor and similar to February. US imports, however, shot up to a new all-time record high, so the American trade deficit also hit a new record high, exceeding $140 billion for the month. None of this is helping sentiment. The latest survey, this one from the Real Clear Markets TIPP, Economic Optimism Index, retreated in May from April when a gain was anticipated. It is now at its lowest in 7 months. Meanwhile, the US Logistics Managers Index returned to its more usual levels, but allowing it to do that were rises in inventory and freight costs rather than efficiency components. And there was a well-supported US Treasury 10-year bond auction earlier today, and that delivered a median yield of 4.28%, which was down 6 basis points from the prior equivalent event a month ago. Tomorrow will be dominated by the US Fed's meeting outcome. Changed interest rates are unlikely, but there will be intense interest in how they view the present and future economic landscape. In Canada, the widely watched local Ivy PMI turned into contraction in April. In China, the Caixin Services PMI expansion eased back in April, down from March's 3-month high to be below analyst forecasts. This is now the softest expansion in their services sector in 7 months. But this Caixin version reported a slightly faster expansion than the official version. And there is a lot going on today, and amongst that we are expecting a significant Chinese briefing by their central bank and other regulators about new moves to respond to their economic pressures triggered by the tariff war. In Europe, their April services PMI didn't fall into contraction as expected. Rather, it stayed just on the positive side, but it is an anemic expansion all the same. In Australia, household spending slipped in March from February to be 3.5% higher than March 2024. Of special note was a very sharp 1.3% dive in Queensland. There was an even sharper retreat in building consents in Australia in March, with a big 15% dive in consents for building apartments. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.31%, down 3 basis points from yesterday at this time. And the price of gold will start today at $3,414 an ounce, up $101 from yesterday and heading back towards its April 23rd record high. And oil prices are firming today, up $2 to just on $59 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just under $62.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is now at 60 US cents, up 40 basis points from yesterday. Against the Aussie, we're up 10 basis points at 92.5 Australian cents. Against the euro, up 50 basis points at 52.8 euro cents. That all means our trade weight index starts today at just under 68 and up 10 basis points. The Japanese yen has strengthened to limit the TWI shift. And the Bitcoin price starts today down a mere 0.3% from yesterday at $94,563. Volatility of the past 24 hours has been low at plus or minus 0.9%. Join us at 10:45 a.m. for the release of the important March quarter jobs report for New Zealand. We are expecting no rise in employment and a rise in unemployment to 5.3%. Variations from that might be market moving. And then at 2 p.m. this afternoon, we'll be covering the RBN's half-yearly financial stability report. This will be Christian Hawkesby's first big set-piece presentation as Governor, a role he holds until at least October. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.